I cancelled my birthday plans to help my Amaya after her surgery. I cleaned her home, cooked, bathed her dog. She told my wife. He just wants to look good. He's useless otherwise. My wife believed her. I was told to sleep in the basement until I earned my place. What I did with the audio I recorded that week. My name's Ryan. I'm 37. I live in Marietta, Georgia with my wife Darla. We've been married 6 years, no kids. I work at a local auto shop. I've been a mechanic since I was 19. My job's honest, I make a decent living, and I come home every day smelling like oil and sweat. I know it's not fancy, but it keeps the lights on. Darla's in HR at a big company in Atlanta. Remote job mostly, some office time. She dresses sharp, talks clean, and has a head full of business talk. We're very different in some ways, but we've made it work. At least I thought we had. Now, her mom, Barbara, has always had a problem with me. She's one of those women who always talks about what she gave up for her daughter, like Darla owes her the world. She thinks I'm beneath her. She never said it out loud in those exact words, but the way she talks to me, it's like I'm a handyman she didn't hire. I could have ignored that forever, honestly. But then she had to get knee surgery. It was about 3 days before my birthday. We were planning a small dinner, just me and Darla, maybe some friends after. Nothing big. I told her I didn't need a cake or decorations. I just wanted a quiet night with people I liked. Then Barbara slipped on some wet pavement and tore up her knee. She needed surgery fast. Darla couldn't take time off that week, and I was off Tuesday through Friday, so she asked me, "Can you go help Mom for a few days?" "I'll go next weekend." I said yes. No hesitation. No complaints. Just yes. I figured, it's the right thing to do. It's family. And maybe Barbara would finally see that I'm not the lazy idiot she thinks I am. That was mistake number 1. I packed a bag and drove to Canton on Tuesday morning. Barbara's house looked like no one had touched it in weeks. Piles of laundry in the hallway, dirty dishes in the sink, dog hair stuck to the couch. Her dog Biscuit, a small gray schnauzer, barked the whole time I was trying to bring in my stuff. Barbara was in her recliner with her knee in a brace and a pile of pill bottles on the side table. She didn't say hi. Didn't say thank you. Just said, "Took you long enough." She didn't mean it as a joke. I spent that whole first day cleaning the kitchen, running laundry, wiping down the bathroom, and making her some dinner. She complained about the seasoning, said I was too heavy-handed with the salt. I didn't say anything back. Day 2, I took Biscuit to the backyard, gave him a bath in a tub with warm water, dried him with towels, brushed out the knots in his fur. Barbara watched from the porch and said, "That's probably the most effort you've ever made in your life." I laughed, thinking maybe she was being sarcastic. But when I looked at her, she wasn't smiling. She meant it. I tried to call Darla every night after Barbara went to bed. I gave her updates. Told her how her mom was healing, what she ate, how often she took her meds. I never said anything bad. I didn't even complain about the insults. I figured it wasn't worth it. Darla loves her mom, and I didn't want to stir up drama. But Barbara stirred it anyway. What I didn't know was that while I was helping her get up from the toilet, changing her bandages, and washing her crusty dishes, she was on the phone with Darla every afternoon, making me out to be some kind of phony. "He's doing it just to impress you," she told her. "He's lazy the rest of the time. Useless when it really matters." I wouldn't have believed it either, if I hadn't heard it myself. Because on the second night, I started recording. Let me be clear. I didn't do it because I was planning anything. I was just bored and annoyed and curious. I opened the voice memos app on my phone and started recording while I was cleaning and Barbara was talking on the phone. She was loud, always on speaker. Like the whole world needed to hear her conversations. At first, I got her bad-mouthing her neighbor. "That slut across the street walks around in leggings like she's 20. Then it turned to Darla. "My daughter is soft. She always has been. That man's going to walk all over her eventually." Then it got to me. And that's when I hit record every time I heard her open her mouth. "He's just pretending to be helpful. He wants Darla to think he's a hero. I'll make sure she sees through it." She didn't know I was 2 feet away behind the hallway wall. She didn't know I was recording every word. When I came home Friday night, Darla didn't even greet me. She looked tired but also pissed. She didn't ask how her mom was doing. She didn't ask how I felt. She just stood there with her arms crossed. "She told me you were lazy," she said. I blinked. "What?" "She said you spent the whole time on your phone. That you barely checked on her. That she had to get herself out of bed." I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. "That's not true," I said. I cooked for her. I cleaned. I bathed the damn dog. She said you were trying to score points. I stood there for a few seconds. I didn't know what to say. I just kept thinking, how the hell did this happen? Then she said something that made my chest tighten. You need to sleep in the basement until you earn your place again. I stared at her. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just grabbed my pillow and walked downstairs. And in that moment, I realized two things. 1. Barbara had poisoned my wife against me. 2. I had the antidote in my phone. But I wasn't going to throw it in Darla's face right away. I knew if I rushed it, she'd just double down. She had to hear it herself, not from me. So I waited. And while I waited, I made a plan. Sleeping in that basement did something to me. I'd been tired before, angry before, but this was different. Every night I stared at the ceiling and asked myself how we got here. I'd never lied to Darla. I'd never given her a reason to question me. But in 1 week, her mom turned her against me. And the worst part? Darla didn't even care to hear my side. She stopped kissing me goodnight. Stopped talking to me in the morning. Meals were quiet, fast, and cold. Like I wasn't even there. I tried once to bring up the recordings. Her response? I don't want to hear your twisted version of things. That hit harder than I expected. So I stopped trying. And I started listening instead. Barbara kept calling. I heard her on speaker upstairs almost every day. I'd walk into the kitchen and Darla would quickly end the call or walk out. Sometimes I'd catch little pieces. Don't let him turn it around on you. He's always been that way, it's just now you see it. He'll try to cry or guilt you, just stay firm. It made me sick. So I did what I do best. Stay calm, stay quiet, and fix what's broken. But this time, what was broken was my marriage. I went back through the recordings. Every single one. I organized them by date. Wrote transcripts. Labeled everything. Carter, my buddy in Atlanta, helped me clean the audio up. He didn't ask too many questions. Just said, "Dude, whoever this woman is, she's a snake." I told him it was my mother-in-law. He just whistled. That's cold, man. Yeah. It was. The week after I got back, Darla's best friend Hannah came over. She and Darla have been close since college. I always got along with her, though we weren't super close. I was in the garage changing the oil in my truck when I heard them through the open window above the sink. I just don't know who he really is, Darla said. It's like, did he ever care about my mom? Or was he just pretending? He always seemed nice, Hannah said. You think he faked all that? My mom wouldn't lie to me. There was a pause. Then Hannah said something that stopped me cold. Are you sure about that? That night, Darla didn't come downstairs. But she left food for me on the counter. Chicken and rice. I hadn't eaten a real meal in days. I took that as a small sign of hope. So I left something for her. Just a USB drive on the kitchen table. I labeled it, "Here for yourself." Nothing more. I didn't stick around. I drove to my brother's house in Ackworth and crashed on his couch. Told him I needed a couple nights. He didn't ask questions. The next day, I had 17 missed calls. 6 from Darla. 11 from Barbara. 2 from an unknown number. When I got back home Sunday night, the whole house felt weird. Too quiet. Like it had been holding its breath. Darla was sitting on the couch. Her eyes were red. She looked like she hadn't slept. She didn't even wait for me to sit down. You recorded her. I nodded. She said horrible things. I know. She held the USB up. You edited this? Nope. All in order. All real. She sat there for a while, holding it like it might burn her. Then she whispered, "Why didn't you just tell me?" I leaned forward. Because you didn't want to hear it from me. She didn't argue. Now here's where it twists. That unknown number? It was Barbara's lawyer. Apparently, she found out I recorded her without her knowing. She was threatening to sue for illegal surveillance. Said I invaded her privacy. Said I was harassing a disabled elderly woman. But what she didn't know is that Georgia is a one-party consent state. As long as I was part of the conversation or in the room where it was happening, I had every right to record her. I told her lawyer that. And I never heard from him again. But Barbara wasn't done. She started posting on Facebook. Said I was abusive. Manipulative. That she feared for her life when I was in her house. She didn't name me directly, but the people who knew her knew exactly who she meant. Some of her friends commented things like, "You deserve better," and "File a restraining order." One of them even messaged Darla and said, "Is he hurting you too?" That was the final straw. I took screenshots of everything. And I started building a file. I didn't want to play dirty. But when someone smears your name online, poisons your marriage, and tries to use the law to scare you, you stop playing nice. I kept my head down. Said little. Watched and listened. I didn't post a single thing. I didn't even defend myself when some of Darla's distant cousins started giving me the cold shoulder. People I'd grilled burgers for, fixed brakes for, helped move furniture. All silent now. But I didn't care about them. I cared about Darla. And I wanted the truth to finish what Barbara started. The turning point came 2 weeks later. Darla's uncle, Barbara's younger brother, Reggie, reached out. He's the only one in that family who ever really treated me like a human being. We'd talked football before. Gone fishing once. Real guy. He said, "Hey, I saw what your mother-in-law posted. I don't believe it." I told him thanks. Then I asked, "You ever seen her pull this before?" He was quiet for a second. Then he said, "You got time to talk?" We met up at a diner the next morning. He slid into the booth, ordered coffee, and didn't waste time. "She did this to Frank too?" "Who's Frank?" "Her ex-boyfriend. 2 years ago. Turns out, Barbara had a live-in boyfriend after her husband passed. Frank was nice, quiet, worked in HVAC. Lived with her about 6 months. Reggie said one day she just flipped on him. Accused him of stealing pills. Told her friends he was taking money from her bank account. The guy left town 2 days later. She never pressed charges. Never reported anything." "Sound familiar?" Reggie said. "Yeah. It did. I got his permission to record the conversation. Not for public use, just for proof." Then I made a second file. Along with the audio I already had in Barbara's Facebook posts, I added Reggie's statement. I wasn't planning to release it yet. But I wanted it ready. That same week, I found out something else. Something that nearly sent me over the edge. Darla told me, quietly, almost like she was embarrassed, that Barbara had offered to help her. Prepared to leave me. She'd made a spreadsheet of finances. Suggested a divorce attorney. Even asked if she wanted to move back in. Just until she gets back on her feet. "You were really gonna go?" I asked her. She just shook her head. I was confused. That word again. Confused. I told her. Being confused is forgetting if you fed the dog. Not making a plan to walk away from your husband. She looked like she'd been slapped. But I didn't take it back. We slept in separate rooms after that. Then came the final blow-up. Not the end, but the start of the storm. Barbara showed up. Unannounced. Middle of the afternoon. I was home alone, fixing the door hinge on the pantry. She banged on the front door like it was the cops. When I opened it, she stormed in with 2 shopping bags and said, "Where is she?" "Not home," I said. She looked around like she didn't believe me. Then she walked straight to the kitchen and started unpacking groceries like she lived here. "You can't be here," I said. She ignored me. "I brought Darla some things. She needs real support." I said it again. "You can't be here." Then she turned and looked me dead in the face. "She's leaving you. One way or another." It was like a switch flipped inside me. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I picked up my phone, turned on the camera, and said, "Say that again." She froze. Then she snatched the grocery bags and stormed out, yelling over her shoulder, "You're mentally unstable. She'll see it soon enough." I had it all on video. That night I showed Darla the full video. The full audio. Reggie's message. Her Facebook posts. I didn't say a word. Just played it all. When it ended, she sat there with her face in her hands. She looked 10 years older. I believed her," she said. "Yeah," I said. "You did. I don't know what to do." I looked at her. And I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I just said, "Then maybe you need to ask yourself why that was so easy. We've been in limbo ever since." She's trying. She's apologized. She's cried. But I don't know if I can forgive someone who let me rot in the basement, while her mother lied straight to her face. And Barbara? She's quiet again. But I know her type. Quiet just means she's planning her next move. Good thing I've got one of my own. It's been a month now. I've barely spoken to Darla. We live in the same house, but it feels like we're roommates waiting for a lease to run out. I started sleeping in the guest room, not the basement. My stuff's half packed. I don't know where I'll go yet, but I'm done living in a place where I was made to feel worthless. Darla keeps asking for time. She says she's been doing therapy on her own. She even tried to delete her mom's number. But it's too late for that. You don't come back from some choices. What Barbara did wasn't just toxic. It was calculated. And I wasn't going to let her slide. Not after all the lies, not after nearly destroying my marriage, and sure as hell not after what I found out last week. Here's what happened. Remember Frank? The boyfriend Barbara scared off 2 years ago. Reggie helped me find him. He's living in Rome, Georgia now. Retired early, doing handyman work. I took a drive and found him fixing someone's deck. I introduced myself, told him I was Barbara's son-in-law. At first, he looked like he was gonna walk off. But then I said, "I've got recordings. She's trying it again." That stopped him. We went to a diner, and he opened up. Turns out, Barbara made the same play with him. Said he was stealing meds. Told her friends he was emotionally abusive. Even went as far as filing a false police report, saying he threatened her. Nothing came of it, but he lost his job after that. The rumors spread. He showed me old texts, screenshots. It all lined up. That was the last straw for me. I knew what I had to do. I put everything together. Every recording. Every screenshot. Reggie's statement. Frank's screenshots. The video of Barbara storming into my house. Her Facebook lies. I stitched it into a timeline, added subtitles and captions, and turned it into a 15-minute video called "The Truth About Barbara, a Pattern of Manipulation." I posted it privately on YouTube and sent it to 3 people. Darla, every one of Barbara's church friends, thanks to Facebook, and a woman named Stacy, Barbara's new HOA board president. Turns out Barbara had just run for HOA vice chair. She had plans to move up and be the face of her neighborhood. She'd been working that crowd for months. That video wrecked all of it. Within 48 hours, Barbara was removed from the HOA committee. Stacy sent a formal statement saying Barbara misrepresented her character. 2 of her friends from Bible study publicly commented on the video, saying they were ashamed to have believed her lies. And Frank? He shared the video on his own Facebook with the caption, "Told you I wasn't the villain." Barbara deleted all her social media accounts that same day. But the best part? She sent Darla a message saying, "You allowed him to destroy me. I hope it was worth it." And for once, Darla didn't defend her. She didn't even reply. But it didn't end there. Darla asked me to go to one last therapy session with her. I agreed, not for her, but for closure. In the session, she broke down. She said she grew up being scared of her mother. That Barbara made her doubt herself, made her feel guilty any time she stood up for herself. She said, "I thought you were just like her. Controlling. I was wrong." I nodded. Then I told her, "You didn't just believe her. You punished me. You watched me sleep in a cold basement while I was the only one telling the truth." She cried harder. The therapist asked me, "Can you forgive her?" I said, "I don't think so. Not now. Maybe not ever." And that was the most honest thing I've ever said. A week later, I moved out. I left the house to her. I didn't want anything from the marriage except my tools, my clothes, and my dog. He'd been mine before we married. Darla cried when I left. She begged me not to go. Said she'd cut Barbara out forever. But trust isn't a switch you can flip back on. Sometimes people break something too deep to fix. As for Barbara? Last I heard, she started telling people I edited the videos. Claimed it was AI. Said I was a dangerous man. But nobody's listening to her anymore. Even her church stopped inviting her to events. Frank's name got cleared. One of his old bosses reached out and apologized. And me? I moved to a small rental house outside Kennesaw. Quiet place. Peaceful. I see Reggie sometimes. We fish. We drink beer. And we laugh about how karma takes her time, but she always shows up. I'm healing. It's slow. Some nights I still replay the words, "Sleep in the basement until you earn your place." But then I remember, I never lost my place. They just lost sight of who I really was. And I reminded them, with the truth. Plain. Sharp. And impossible to ignore.